Hello. Nice seeing you here. I will tell you about some tools and methods developed in collaboration with these great people for mining information from online social networks about commercial or non-commercial organizations. So social networks have abundance of information from all kinds, from pictures to really biographic details of people, connections, etc. But also you have fan pages. Also you have company pages. So in this talk, I'm not going to focus on company pages or any official channels, but rather we are going to focus on sources that the company cannot control. Absolutely. That is the personal profile pages, personal profiles of the employees and the connections between them. There are many debates whether the lower barriers in social networking communications and the fact that information posted in the social network may persist there for a long time, whether it's good or bad. In some cases, a shaming post that was published in a wrong time can hurt badly a child. But in other cases, distress signals that otherwise would remain undetected can be found in social networks much earlier. But okay, this is more education. What about adversaries or good guys that can infer interesting information about companies from the informal structure of the structure of the informal social networks of their employees, the informal connections between them that do not really relate to their jobs and professional activities. The tools that are used by both adversaries and the good guys are very similar. Both explore the network, everyone extracts features from the network. Some use fake accounts. You can use a fake account in order to penetrate the organization. You can use a fake account in order to attract penetrators, kind of a social honeypot. So in this talk, I will focus on three kinds of tools. I will describe targeted crawling in order to collect the information from social networks. They don't really want you to collect it. And if they allow, then they limit you with any possible means. They don't like to be crawled. Some centrality analysis for detection of managers and other positions in the organization. What can we learn from community detection? And of course, social bots. So first of all, we need to collect information about the organization from the social network. Information means data from the personal profile pages of employees. Some of them are sealed. Some of them are open and available to the public. We need to find all profiles having some small seed, like the company name or variants of the company name. We could use the search engines to find some people, but not all of them. We can use the social network search features in order to find some people. But remember, social networks do not like when you extract all this information from them. So there are many ethical and legal issues in this kind of activity. And researchers that work on social networks are aware and know how to circumvent the pitfalls of the ethical issues. And adversaries, well, they don't really care, right? So this is an organization, okay? In the organization, we call the relevant profiles, we call them leads. Non-relevant profiles, we call them non-leads. And, well, profile that is not decided yet is a potential lead. The strategies that I will describe now, or actually similar strategies, were published in series of conference papers in artificial intelligence and social network analysis. We model the TONIC problem, Target-Oriented Network Intelligence Collection. We model the TONIC problem with two operations. So first of all, you can have the isLead query. In our case, isLead, whether or not the target profile has the company name or some of its synonyms in its profile page, in its employment information. And we have the acquire operation, which extracts all information from the social network about this profile, including its friends list. This is the most costly operation. Well, the objective of the search is to find the maximal number of leads while performing some number of queries. Again, social networks limit the number of queries, so this is a precious resource. We consider two types of problems. Let's call them rings. The first ring only acquires employees of the organization. So if a profile is turned to be an employee using the isLead query, only then we acquire full information about it. And in the second ring, we also allow to acquire non-leads if they have friends within the organization. Later, I will show why third, fourth, and so on rings don't really matter. Okay, so we model TONIC as a kind of best first search problem. And we can develop many different heuristics for improving this search. A nice one, although trivial, is the number of leads connected to. If I have some unknown profile which is connected to 3 leads and another unknown profile which is connected to 1 lead, well, I will choose this one. It has more potential to become a lead or to actually be a lead. But are leads the same? Leads are not the same. If I have a profile, 2 profiles connected to the same lead, one which is more involved in the organizational community and the other one which is not, then probably I would like to acquire this one or to check this one. So it gives you some intuition that the structure of the network that is already known or was already crawled is very important for choosing the next profile to be crawled. In this research, we checked several heuristics, including common centrality measures. And the one that was performing the best is a kind of Bayesian estimation on the probability that a potential lead will actually be lead. The common baseline is here. It's actually the breadth first search approach. And you can improve it by a factor of 2 approximately. So you can acquire the same number of leads twice as fast. Okay, so we have completed the first ring. Everything is okay. Why do we need the second ring? In some cases, you have really significant communities within an organization. They are apparent, actually. This is a good example. An organizational graph with apparent communities, and you have here something that is connected by one link back. Sorry. So you need sometimes a profile outside the organization in order to link to the other islands of the organization in the social network. Now you may ask, how can that happen? Two communities within the organization and no link between them, how can it happen? So it happens rarely, really rarely, but it may happen because we don't see all links. We have a small, actually see a small fraction of links due to privacy constraint, etc. A profile may be misclassified. So actually this profile is within the organization and connects between the communities, but we could not identify it using the isLead. Okay, so we have crawled organizations. Now what can we do with that? Using this study published in Network Spatial Economics, we evaluated 6 companies of different scales, actually acquired 10 to 15% of profiles. Only about 30% of profiles had employment information in their Facebook profiles, and 30% of them reported themselves as managers. Some positions were useless, and we found out that Facebook information is not of high quality about the position of the people, and LinkedIn contains more. All in all, we had almost this amount of manually classified profiles, 4,500, 600 manually classified profiles on which we performed the analysis. Using centrality measures on the Facebook graph, it is possible to infer which people hold the management positions. Actually, the HITS centrality measure was performing the best, and manager did have a very high HITS centrality in the informal network. So they had many friends. The second organization, the second small organization, had actually the best correlation between the centrality and the managerial positions. And it was interesting that about 30% of managers identified using centrality did not disclose their position on Facebook. They did disclose it on LinkedIn, but they considered Facebook not to be important for it, or due to privacy reasons. Okay, centrality. Centrality, community detections. What can we learn from communities? For example, we can see a community that corresponds to a startup acquired by the company. Well, this information you can also find in the official channels. Another company also have a startup, acquired startup as a separate community inside its informal social network, but also have a community of managers and international project managers, a tight community. This information you will not find in official sources. So most communities correspond to geographically or professionally oriented groups of people. They are homogeneous in their location or their position, but there are very interesting communities as well. See this green bulb here? It's the company's amateur sports team. You will definitely not find this information in the official sources. But you can exploit this information to penetrate the organization. You could create, well, this follows the general methodology of managing fake accounts in social networks. So you create a bunch of them, you connect them to fan pages of famous football players. They will always accept connections. Connect them to a few highly connected personal accounts, and then send friend requests to the most connected members of the company's amateur football team. Why connecting them with highly connected and the most connected members? Boschmaf have identified in his research that the correlation, there is a high correlation between the number of connections a person has to his probability of accepting random friend requests. Moreover, if this random person connecting you have a certain amount, have many common friends with you, you will accept his invitation with high probability even if you do not know him personally. And this is due to the low communication barriers in social networks. So once you are in, once you make friends with the organizational profiles, you chat, you comment, and then you ask your friends to forward your CV to some R&D managers in department, and you have your PDF in. To make sure that this is not just something we are researching only in academia, then you can see some reports on advanced persistent attacks that were using social networks to penetrate organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.